Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of What They Don't Tell You. I'm your host Jacob, along with the other host.
Aiden, and we're here to bring you our perspective on news, facts, and culture, what we believe to be true about them.
Alright guys, so in today's episode we've got four topics, and before we get into our topics, I'm gonna just say I wanted to address the Texas flooding at a summer camp. It's a girls' summer camp, and then in the area as well. It's pretty scary because I was actually at a summer camp last week, and we're hearing about all this. We're like, that's not us, but it's also
Yeah,
kind of sad. So just prayers for that. 60, I believe, are missing right
what
now,
is
and
I can't
109
believe
have
that's what that
been
was.
confirmed. 109 have been confirmed to be dead, which is really sad.
That's crazy. Yeah, I legit thought you were gonna try to address my background, so I was about to start talking. Guys, if you don't know, I'm at my cabin. I was banished to the shed. Not really. It's just we decided to sit up here. It's a little quieter. I have little cousins, so makes it a little easier. So my background's funky. It's all like work tools and Christmas tree, stuff like that.
Christmas
Well,
tree.
that's what's
Hey,
in the
what's
red
wrong with the
bag behind
Christmas
me.
tree, you know?
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. So that's why I'm in
Um,
here. Apologize. Next weeks will
yeah.
be higher quality, background
Yeah,
noise.
we will have one episode before we have our in-person episodes. I'm really excited. We'll be
Yep, that'll
leaving.
be super
We're getting
cool.
together, I believe, 2 weeks-ish, something like
Yep,
that.
something like that.
2 weeks from when this posts, so yeah. All right, guys, so I'm going to run down our topics for today. I'm really excited for this. One's going to be a good one.
Yep.
So our first episode, we're going to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein and just kind of some things in the news that have been popping up for him. So we're going to kind of just take a deep dive into the whole story and give our thoughts. We're also going to be talking about the Diddy trial update. You know, he actually,
Giddy.
in my opinion, he kind of got off pretty easy. Like,
Like
not
really
death row.
easy. Yeah, yeah. That's
Like the community service when you stole 10.
slap on the wrist. Yeah.
And then we're going to be talking about AOC, or as she is known in the political world, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I
Ocasio.
believe.
Ocasio.
Ocasio.
Yep.
And then we're also going to be talking about Alligator Alcatraz, which is a pretty cool place. So we'll get right into it. Epstein first, Aiden. So you want to run us down?
Yeah. So I'm gonna explain it probably like a 3-year-old for the first part, just to give our viewers just a little bit of background understanding. So first up, we obviously got this guy Jeffrey Epstein. He owns some islands south of Florida, private islands where he would engage in sex trafficking activities. I mean, I would get if I had to guess everything ranging from satanic cults to sex trafficking to I'm sure
Who
there's
knows what?
other things. Those things usually lead to money laundering, all that stuff.
Diddy
All that
parties.
stuff's coming in.
For all we
Yeah,
know.
basically. So, as he's doing this, people started to assume after he was arrested that there was a client list, right? Like, he's got a client list, we have flight records of who went there, we know what's going on, so, let's see the client list. And obviously,
Right.
that has been withheld from us for quite some time now.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump, as part of his campaign,
Yeah.
stated that he was going to release these files. Now,
Right.
when the time came to release these files, he did not do so. We suspect, based on some evidence, circumstantial and otherwise, that some of them have been destroyed at some point. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I would assume the client list isn't fully gone, and we would hope to see a client list sometime in the future, but dang, I feel like I'm analyzing a Fortnite update. But no, no. In the future, we're hoping to get some patch notes with the Jeffrey Epstein client list, uh, and kind
And
of get a grasp of what actually happened. Because I think anyone in the right mind knows that the current statement, there's no way that it's fully true. It's just
mm-mm.
too
There's
unbelievable.
definitely some suspicion going on around just the whole case in general. I wanted to say another thing that maybe is something to look at. And we kind of talked about this whenever we were talking about the Elon and Trump divorce. We were talking about maybe Trump would, and Elon threatened that Trump was in the files. Is that why he didn't release them? Is that so we can kind of
I
conspiracize about that a little bit? So
You can conspiracize about a lot of things. I think the first thing we need to lay down for framework is obviously because we know we own these islands, we know we engage in some sort of sex trafficking, and we know that it was with a lot of underage girls
hmm
as well. So you have a
yeah,
ton of issues there that are just disgusting. This is all sourced from multiple news sites. Go back and look. Even the partially released files, which you can find on the government websites, getting some information from there. So guys, go check it
right.
out for yourselves.
I'll drop
But
those down in the comments or the
yep,
description. Real quick before I will say we're gonna look and
yeah,
we're gonna take a look at the footage
yes.
that is supposedly tampered with. But before we get into that, do you just want me to give you a real quick rundown on who Jeffrey Epstein was?
Yeah. Let's
Um,
before we do that though, I just want to so we're stating those things and then I just want to clear up in the future the recent FBI statement which you can find on most social media platforms stated that there's no client list, There's no issue, but there's a lot of obvious discrepancies with that. But that is the official FBI report as of right now. So we're going to be looking, theorizing, behind the scenes, what's going on, all these things. That's what we're looking at today.
Right.
And I'll let Jacob give you a rundown on Jeffrey Epstein so that we just understand everything that's happening up until this point where we're locked in on this hopeful client list that it appears will remain forever out of our hands.
Yeah. So Jeffrey Epstein, born in 1953, died in 2019 due to suicide. We're getting to that into a little bit. He was an American financier and convicted sex offender. Born in Brooklyn, New York, started as a teacher before entering finance. Worked at He founded his own money management firm, catering to wealthy clients. Known for managing assets for billionaires and other elitists, which that's where we're gonna get into how he gets his connections. He operated a sex trafficking network, abusing dozens of underage girls, some as young as 14, as you said, from the 80s to the 2000s. Used his wealth and connections to lure victims, often under the incentive of offering good career opportunities for certain victims. Some of this isn't really.
Wow. Hopefully our audience is old enough, but we do like to keep things at a maybe
It'll
PG.
edit all this. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Um, uh, okay. He was arrested in
I kind of
2019.
want to hear about that though later, by the way.
Yeah, I got you. Arrested in July. I just voice cracked. Arrested
Yeah.
in July of 2019 for federal sex trafficking charges. Died by suicide in Manhattan jail in August of 2019, awaiting trial. Now, so the big thing with the suicide, right? We're going to talk about that is with these like security camera footage being released, right? We've seen, and if you guys follow Benny Johnson, we've talked about him on the show before. We see that in the footage, there's missing a minute, right? Now, a minute's not a long time to do things, but this is around the time where he allegedly committed suicide. So what do you think about this?
I don't know. It's so tough to it's tough to narrow down anything. There's so many theories that you can't really guarantee that any one of these are true or have any substantial evidence. I think that the suicide is on the table. I think most people would be like, that's true. Now, could you
Mm-hmm.
debate, or as far as, or not sure, like he didn't kill himself, like someone else, like he was somehow killed? While I would be most likely to side with that idea as well, I could definitely see a world where he commits suicide because he knows he's probably going to already end up on death row or, you know, like at some point he's got a target on his back. He can end up in jail for years and years and years, or he's gonna be killed, right? So I
Right.
think for me, I do think it could have been suicide. I don't think it was suicide, but I'm not. I won't leave that off the table. But even if he did commit suicide, the real issue is still what he did, right? And I think the
Mm-hmm.
suicide then is just like okay, then the corruption goes deeper, right?
Right.
So the problem for me is that okay, there's several flaws in what we hear from the FBI, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if the FBI really thinks they can sweep this under the rug and people are going to forget about it, because that's simply not true. I'm sure not.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a few issues. Issue number one: Ghislaine Maxwell, his girlfriend who was in this with him, in this sex trafficking ring, she is in jail.
Right.
So
And she's
obviously
already been
there's something
sentenced.
there. Yeah. So why would she get sentenced if nothing happened and there wasn't any client list or
Exactly.
any of this stuff? Why was she being sentenced? She shouldn't even be in jail if
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, there's nothing. Well, then shouldn't even be in jail. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is that obviously there's plenty of witness accounts and people saying that he was doing these things. Like there's people that have talked about this. Have flight logs, obviously including some very elitist people that went to his islands. And then the other issue too is if he didn't do anything, why did he commit suicide? Or was
Right.
killed. Like that you also have that issue. And so there's just a lot of flaws in this and in what we know about Jeffrey Epstein that just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make sense. And I think it pokes so we can poke a hole immediately in the FBI's thing. That's crap. Like it's bull crap. I don't care.
Right.
I think that then to go from there and say, okay, we still want to know where's the client list, right? Like now, I guess
Right.
that they can't be asked the question, where's the client list? Like before, they
Mm-hmm.
could be asked that question. Now they can't be asked that question. So I see the purpose of
Right.
it from that point of view. And so then the other thing, there's just so many layers to this. Let me focus on one thing at a time. So Trump, first of all, obviously he ran on this. He said he was going to release this.
Right.
So what scared the biggest bully in the nation or in the world
Exactly.
right now? Because he can steamroll people. He's not afraid of anything. I mean, clearly, like, I don't care what side you're on. You got to give him the credit for courage. So
Right.
something got to him to where he's scared either for himself or just a lot of people.
So that's my thing.
I don't know.
There's two options here. Is either Elon was not bluffing like we had thought previously, where he's releasing it and Trump is actually on the list, right?
Yeah,
Two, I have three here's. Two, this client list doesn't exist, right? Or
it
because
is.
think about it. Trump, the president doesn't know everything, right? He
Right.
could have been told, yeah, there's a list. We'll give it to you as soon as you're in office. We'll give it to you. We'll let you release it, and then there's
Yeah.
no list.
Yeah, but
You
that's
go
the
ahead if you're
other
gonna say.
thing. No, sorry. I just want to inflect into what you're saying. But I mean, Pam Bondi specifically stated, I don't think she said client list, but she was like, the files are on my desk right now. And they're claiming no files in general. So then why should I
Right.
believe them when they say that? So that's all I'm just adding. That's the other flaw in the FBI saying that. There has to be some kind of list, some kind of extra file, something. I'm not saying it has to be a client list, but there is something that would put these people on the
Right.
table for potential prosecution.
I 100% agree. I mean, there's something there. It doesn't have to be the client list, right? But there's something to do with Epstein, and there's
Yeah.
something to do with either Trump or lots of people that could either hurt money that's involved,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
can't forget about money. There's something that's going to either hurt
Yeah.
money,
Sure.
politics, or like
Yeah.
people's reputation, right? And that's why I think he's either scared or being threatened not to
Right.
release it.
And so I think with Trump, I think the other thing, and I like what you're saying, but I think one of the issues too for Trump is that there was a guy, and I'd have to go look, but he went on a podcast recently. He's like kind of like a friend of Trump's, advisor type thing, and he was like, well, you ran on the Epstein file, like why aren't you gonna release it? And Trump was like,
Hmm.
told him, at least according to this guy, and basically said, if you knew what they told me, you wouldn't release them either. And so
Hmm.
that is the step that makes me think, okay, dude's afraid of something
Hmm.
that a repercussion, and he knows that the person that would enforce these repercussions has the capability to do so. So
Hmm.
someone I would assume that has a decent amount of power. Now whether that's just a puppet master, and we see all the faces like the Clintons, like the Obamas,
Right.
and you see, and then there's the puppet master in the background, or whether that really is like the Obamas or the Clintons. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm just saying I think something got the Trump to where he's like, we can't release this right now. I know he has more evidence than we think. And then other people will also say, and this could be part of it too, oh, well, it has to do with some of his intelligence officials are in on it. So he's replacing those people, and then he's going to relaunch the investigation. That could also be true. This statement does keep people quiet again on the questioning front and it's a face, right? It's okay.
Exactly.
Here's what we're saying. People are just going to be like, dang, we're never going to get this. This sucks. Even his intelligence officials are going to stop caring. The ones he is like, okay, let's weed out the people that are in on this, put different
Right.
people in, and then we don't have to have that risk. That could be another solution. I don't know, but something is definitely super fishy here, and that just gives you some things to chew on, I guess, for the next few weeks while we see what.
Right. And I'm just so the thing that I'm thinking is what is like who has more power and who would scare Trump, right? There's
Yeah.
not a lot of political figures that Trump would be I guess afraid of. I guess you're like you said the
Yeah.
Clintons, the Obamas, they have a lot of power. But I
Right.
feel like unless Trump really did something wrong, there's not many people that can really scare him unless there's some big evidence of, I don't know, his
Yeah.
wife, his kids, and they're not even in the media very much, so I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
And another, like the only thing I could think is we talked about, or we saw that like with the Bill Gates situation, knowing Epstein, right? And the thing was with that was Epstein actually set Bill Gates up with this Russian bridge player, correct? And then allegedly Bill Gates was accused of having an affair with this girl. And is this something that Epstein used and knowing all along that he would be able to get blackmail over Bill Gates? Like, could this and then we go into like this is how he did it and this is how he got his clients, right?
Yeah, I think that that's probably a big part of it, because when you get to that level and like, let's say you're at that level of corruption, like obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point you always have to be thinking about what you can hold over someone else,
Right.
because that's the thing. In this world, there are two things that you lead out of or gain power through, and that's either trust and respect or fear and lies, right? Like that's
Right.
pretty much the only two paths. Like you don't get power really any other way. And so if you're on the fear and lies route, you got to use blackmail. against
Mhm.
people, and so you're always looking to hold something over someone else. Oh, and that's how you keep people in check. You don't keep them in check by if
Right.
they respect you too much, So
Mhm.
Epstein, I think absolutely he's looking for a way to get at these really powerful figures, and that keeps him safe, right? You
Mhm.
got political people in your pocket, and they can't say anything against you, right? Again, it's just the issue with corruption and politics and not having a transparent government that we've talked about that everyone then thinks is transparent and thinks is fully honest and trustworthy when that's just not the case. Now, do I think Trump is guilty of doing or colluding with Epstein in any way? I really don't. I really don't buy that from Musk. I mean, Musk rescinded saying that. I think it was something said
Mhm.
out of anger. I don't really think there
Mhm.
was any backing or evidence behind it. I think we know Trump flew on the flight, which he himself has
Right.
already admitted to, but
Mhm.
he flew from like one destination to it wasn't to the island or anything.
Right.
So, okay, I'm not saying I trust Trump fully, he's still a politician, right? Like I'm gonna go
Mhm.
the Jedi route here. They can't trust politicians. But I do think he's innocent. I really do. I don't think he did anything. I could be wrong. There's always room to be wrong. But in this case, I don't necessarily think he did anything. I think it more comes down to something rattled him or something or him putting into play a game plan that stretches into the future and not just,
Right, and again, all
here.
of these politicians are playing for. They're not focused on right now. They're 6 moves ahead, right? And I think like again that goes for everything they say, everything they do, everything
Yep.
who they interact with, and you can see that here, right? And I just feel like again, I agree with you. I don't think he's guilty. Does it look bad though that he was on the flight? Yes. Does it look bad that he's
Yeah.
not releasing these, even though he said he would, and potentially does have the power to? That also looks a little suspicious, but I don't think he's doing it for himself. He's probably doing it for the
No.
people around him.
I would think so. And I would say I don't fully trust the FBI by any means.
Mm-mm.
So I think that he doesn't have full power over that, right? So the FBI could be keeping stuff, or we know that there's been task force in the past, like with the January 6th incident,
Mm-hmm.
where thousands of hours of footage or whatever it was, I don't know if it was thousands,
Right.
correct me on that, but at least hundreds of hours are like
Mm-hmm.
gone. They're missing
Just where they
from the
go.
footage there. And so you have to question everything that they do. So yeah, I would assume that the FBI, and I'm just gonna say it out there, put it out there. I would think that the FBI probably got rid of some files. Like I
Oh
bet there's
yeah.
stuff that's just gone, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
never see that. Do I think that all of it's gone? No. I think
Mm-mm.
that someone has access to other files and that it won't go away. And I think that Trump knows what's going on. I just think it's one of two things, right? Either something rattled him and he's really not going to do this,
Mm-hmm.
or he's putting into effect a master plan to try to bring them all down, but first he has to weed out the people within his own party that are colluding in this movement. And so then, if you want to move away from this a little bit, because I think we've covered this aspect pretty well, do we want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about the footage and then did he really commit suicide? Because, like, I think we can
Right.
confirm from what we're saying right now, Epstein is guilty.
Right.
He was
And
in a
real
sex
quick
trafficking ring, influenced a
before
lot
we
of major people.
right before that, and I want to talk about his girlfriend real quick. And correct me.
Sure, before we get over
Say
it.
tell me the name real quick. I'm
Ghislaine Maxwell?
Glenn. Yeah. So 20 years, right? Personally, I don't think that's
Yeah.
morally or lawly correct.
Yeah,
If
lawfully
I'm
good.
saying that right,
Yeah,
lawfully.
yeah, I get it.
Because especially had they've been accused on multiple like what like incidents
Yeah.
and multiple girls, right? And this is gonna
Yep.
cause lifelong trauma. And you're giving
Permanent
her
slavery.
exactly. And 20 years of prison, like 20 years for multiple lifetimes and probably tens of hundreds, right? Like I guarantee, because it's not like you just won and then you're done, right? Like,
Right.
and I think that that's a little weak, just my opinion.
I agree. I think that the charges for this, I think it should always be death row. I'm sorry. If you're convicted fully of this, evidence without a doubt, I do think that it should. I know that sounds harsh, but
Right.
guys, like it's easier. Like I'm just gonna be honest. There are murderers who have more like chances of I don't want to say chances of redemption.
Repenting,
Everyone can be redemption, but at
repenting.
least like usually like murders are like a crime, like murder of passion, like maybe they get cheated, like stuff like that where I'm like they made the stupidest, worst mistake. Obviously they should be in jail, but then these people know what they're doing, have full control to not do it. They're not
Hmm.
led on by anything other than just a stupid drive, or in this
Right.
case, just seeking power,
Hmm.
destroying these people's lives.
Oh,
and
100%.
humiliating them and using them and all the disgusting things I can possibly say about it,
Mm-hmm.
and then just it's permanent. Like some of them and never leave it. Some of it's over.
Right.
Like you're practically you're corrupting children. It's there's so many layers to this. I don't even want to get into it all. Obviously, it's disgusting. I shouldn't have to explain this. And so yes, I think that it should be a death row or permanent like life sentence
I really
thing.
like. I think, and we can get into the fact, we can get into the talk. I don't know if we kind of covered this on our Diddy episode where
Yeah.
we were like, what do you do? Do you send him lifetime? Do you send him to death row? Give him if you send
Yeah.
him to lifetime, you give him the chance to hear like the gospel from like a prison ministry or something
Yeah.
like that. And in this case, I really do think it's death row.
Yeah. I it's
Other instances, it just depends. Like we'll have to look at the case, look at the facts, right? And that's where I'll give my opinion at. But in this situation, I think death row is
Yeah, and
pretty
I
fair.
again, like this is not me trying to say like I always send him a death row, anything like that. I'm pretty there. I actually can be against death row in a lot of cases. I don't know if how many of you guys out there have read or watched Just Mercy, but if you guys don't know, it's about one of the first like black lawyers to help some. I think it was one of the first to essentially he was a death row attorney, and he helped a lot of these people, but he had to watch one of them get killed. Wrong, and you start to feel like, and it's a true story. You start to feel really bad. It's been a while, by the way, so I'm butchering this. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the guys did something terrible, and he gets killed. But you feel
You
for him
still
because he
feel
becomes
that. You still
human.
feel
He,
that
he
on your
becomes
your
human
heart.
through that. Yeah, he becomes human through just being talked to and all these things. He wasn't this. He did something wrong. Obviously, I think it was like a bomb or something. He killed the wrong person. It wasn't even the person he was targeting, and it destroyed him. And like that's the kind of person where I'm like, yeah, you should be. This should not be the case. Like, but then there's
Mm-hmm.
other people who are just they're just monsters, and I think Epstein's one of them. And you
Right.
don't let monsters just go around and even locked up. You can't risk that. And I think yeah, I think like you're saying, to move on a little bit, I think it'd be smart now to kind of move into the footage and
Right.
what we think about that. So
So before we
yeah,
go on, I'm gonna play the clip real quick, and
sure,
then we can talk about
sounds
found dead in his cell. Except, of course, for the 1 minute that was obviously cut out, like clearly cut out of the video, which is insane. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is the 1 minute from 11:58 to midnight. There's a full minute right around the midnight hour. It's just gone. And then the camera seems to have moved. Here is a clip directly from the live feed, the feed, okay, that was allegedly live during Jeffrey Epstein's killing himself because he's so innocent.
good.
All right, so you just saw the clip there, guys. So that is the point where you can see in the bottom left that there's a minute that skips, right? And so what do you think about that, Aiden?
More theories. So everything's a theory right now. Minute that skips, odd. Obviously seems like a very short amount of time to like go in, strangle a dude, and then walk out. Like that's a
Right.
really short amount of time to
And
do
make
that.
it look like he's killed himself.
And make it look like he killed himself. Now, a minute. Like think about that. You got that leaves you. I mean, he's gonna struggle. Yeah, it sounds so bad when I like play it out in my head. But you get my point. You got to put yourself there a little bit to like understand how
Yeah.
long a minute is in that context. Minute to me just doesn't seem long enough to do that. Me and Jacob were like theorizing yet last night when we were both like half asleep, and we're like, I bet they went in through a secret passage. Like, you know what I mean? Like we probably sounded like the most ridiculous. But to make like a little bit more realistic, could someone have gone in and killed him? Yeah. I guess what I would think, like my best theory for like, could someone have done that in a minute? Okay, maybe that's a theory. Better theory for me is someone went in, killed him, set it up, waited, maybe
Right.
even until the next morning. I mean, we don't know who did it, so for all we know, I mean, it's professional assassin, I'm sure.
Right.
So
And this
maybe
could have been a
maybe they
guard.
dressed up like a security guard. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you don't
exactly.
know. So maybe one went in, and then he went out. Like I don't know. Or I mean, maybe the most obvious thing in this day and age is the tape has been tampered with. They released it and then took a minute out to make that look suspicious, make people hone in on that and not think about, oh, maybe it was just tampered with and none of this is actually live at the time.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think it's true because they talked about cameras going out for like a while. And so to only have a minute gone, and maybe a minute's a long time in their minds, and I'm just not in the culture, but like that kind of security culture, I guess. Was that a thing? But but
Yeah.
besides that, to me, I like when they say, oh, the video went out for a while. I'm like, okay, I'd say if someone told me the video went out for a while, I'd be like 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And in that amount of time, I could see that happening. Not 1
minute, right?
minute. So I just feel like, yeah, in this day and age, obviously could have been tampered with, right? Like, you can tamper with anything now. Rookies can tamper with stuff. It's, to me, that might be more the case. Again, it's all theory. He could still have committed suicide, and that doesn't change what he did. And I think that's what people get stuck on. Except I do understand if he didn't commit suicide, obviously that has a deeper core, like there's
Right.
more corruption than we ever even realized. Understand that. But at that level, you're also going to make enemies. It could have been anyone. And that's why we just can't narrow it down without that client list.
Right.
So at the end of the day, gotta have the client list, guys. So keep putting pressure. As the American people, we are entitled to these documents. I would argue we're entitled to these documents. Now, I understand that some things have to be kept secret for the safety and good of the people. So let's pray that President Trump is doing that for this case. But besides that, I think it's still okay to put some pressure on them. Get your representatives to ask about it. Get them to put pressure on the government that they work within. And I want to see these files, guys. I know it might be scary. I know it might bring a lot to light. But I think we need to see this. I think we need to know what happened to JFK. I think we need to know what happened to Epstein. I think we need Diddy in jail. And that's what we're coming to next with the Diddy trial update.
So, are we ready for this one? I'm ready.
I think I'm ready.
So, we talked about this, what, first episode, right? First episode that we
First
talked about
episode, we've done updates since then.
We have.
And I'm pissed
So-
off.
Yes, I am too. I am too. So, the trial updates as of July 8th, which was today when we're recording this, we'll be posting it on the 10th, right? Trial outcome. So, the end for the trial was the 2nd of July, 2025. And the verdict was Combs was charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of trafficking by force, fraud, coercion.
Yes. And while I agree, charged for racketeering, should be charged for the trafficking. I think trafficking alone should land you in jail for numerous
least
amount of years. It's ridiculous
30.
that it's
And
only landing
again,
in.
depending on what, like, if you're involved, like, then we talk about death row again, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think bail
bring
should
that
be
up again.
denied if you're
Oh,
involved in
100%.
trafficking. I mean,
It
come on, it's
was-
a predator out there. You know what I mean? Come
Yeah,
on, give me a break.
exactly. And I'll get into I'll tell you real quick. He was guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution related to his ex-girlfriend
gross.
Cassie Ventura, and we talked about her a while back.
Yep.
And a woman who testified under
Name. I know what you're saying. We talked about it a while back, guys. So under false name.
hang on,
'cause they didn't want to
hang
target.
on.
Okay.
Hang on, you bugged real bad. I'm just gonna stop the recording and restart it. And then also another woman testifying under the anonymous name of Jane, which we talked about as well. So now we got sentencing, which is scheduled for October 3rd, 2025, though this date might be adjusted. Each prostitution-related charge carries a maximum of 10 years, but prosecutor estimate a sentence of 4 to 5. With Combs revealing 10-month credit for time served. Now, the bail status. It was denied post-verdict due to Combs' history of violence with Judge Arun.
So bail, he got
Years of-
denied bail, so he's going to jail then. Well, okay,
He
they're
did, he
waiting
did.
for a verdict.
So I think he's going to be in jail until October 3rd, which is going to be until his sentencing.
Yeah. So
I think
he
that's
could still get bail, which would suck.
right. And this was going on for over 2 months now, right? We talked about how it was going to be over in 2 months from our first episode, which is pretty crazy that we've been doing this for 2 months now.
I know.
But I gave all the facts. Now you want to run us down on what you think?
I hate him. I hate him. It's another person, and I feel like I'm just throwing this out there nowadays. I don't want to just like throw out like death, but another person who should be in jail for life or on death row. Like, I mean, let's talk about the abuse of Cassie
It's not anymore.
Yeah, let's talk about the fact that, I mean, I know in America we have to have this evidence for all this stuff, but I'm like, the eyewitness testimonies, the fact that he was beating his girlfriend, and the fact that, you know, like the prostitution charges, like, whatever. It should be more than that. It should be the trafficking charges, it should be the racketeering charges, and those charges would obviously land him in jail for a lot longer, and I know there's not enough evidence, and it bothers me deeply. Okay, there, like, is and there isn't, right? You have the eyewitness statements, but you don't have, like, solid tangible evidence in this
face
case.
value, there's not enough evidence, but when you
Right.
take a deeper look into it, then you're like, oh, these things are kind
There's
of
just-
lining up, and it just gets a little sketchy though, and that's why I'm like, I agree right in this case where like I wish it wasn't innocent until proven guilty, but I just
I know you
even
can't ever have that, but it's frustrating as frick.
and it is, and I think we got to think about like what happens when you're wrongly accused, right? And
Yeah, but this dude.
so we got to give him the benefit. We got to give him the benefit of the doubt
It's
for
not true.
now.
Gosh.
We'll see. Awaiting October 3rd's sentencing, so we'll see about that.
How about this? I doubt that there's any benefit into letting him off. I don't have any benefit of the doubt. Okay, so yes, this frustrates me deeply. He should be charged for much more than this. We have supposedly there's these tapes, and if we get a hold of these flipping tapes, then maybe we'd be able to actually get this guy on something. But obviously, this dude's a monster. Like, he should not be
Right.
out of jail. He should be in jail permanently, or like awaiting the death row thing. Like, it's ridiculous. And again, I don't want to sound like that.
Permanently.
It's just the thing with this sex trafficking stuff is that it hurts me. Like, so like when I get really hyped up and angry about this, like it's something that's like very close to me in that I hate it. It bothers me a lot. So
Right.
so that's why I get pretty intense about this kind of stuff, and I don't want to just sound like I'm throwing out death threats, but it frustrates me. It's someone that is too just evil and blah to like just be out there on the
100%
streets.
agree. I mean, it is like sometimes we're just like, I don't know if we should, but I 100%
Right.
agree in this situation.
No,
like I said
these,
earlier,
these
like
two people,
this should be
Epstein
death
and
row
Diddy, it's
because
so similar.
agreed, and I feel like just it should 100% be death row because you're ruining lives and
You're
it's not. It's just not
destroying
okay.
them. I mean, you're just shredding them, and you know the abuse level and the sex trafficking level, and the fact that these things might have lasted days, and then there's people out there celebrating this. I know, and it's
Exactly.
not a lot of them, but there's women pouring baby oil on themselves. I'm like, are you psychos? Are you human? Do you even read? I mean, these people don't have two brain cells to rub together. It's like,
They have two brain cells fighting
sign
for
them
the
up.
third place.
Sign them the frick up. Like, they can go and be like, I'm like, do you understand what's happening? Like, do you understand that these people are abused, that they're trafficked, that they have no rights, no ability to speak for themselves? Do
can't.
you understand that? Clearly not. And so yes, I'm upset. But in the end, it's frustrating. He should have been accused of more. It's ridiculous that he's even getting off on all this. And I think that on a human level, with the morals that we're supposed to have, we can say that with full certainty. And so someone else that doesn't have two brain cells to rub together is someone that we are going to have to talk about today, and that is AOC, the communist leader of the Democratic Party.
Oh boy, here
Want to
we
give us the
go.
rundown, Jacob?
Yeah, so AOC, or other known as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she is a Democrat. I just had it up here. I just lost my notes. A Democrat Congress for New York, if I'm not mistaken. And we got a little bit of controversy. Not controversy, but just some lies that we're going to unfold here. It's a bit damaging as Kamala's "I worked at the French fry McDonald's" lie. It will backfire in the same way.
Yeah, no, it's true though, because Benny, if you guys don't know, I would assume you do unless you've been living under a rock, which if you have, that's been great. Like
Yeah,
Brett
I
always
mean,
says.
props
from
to you
quoting
on
Brett
the- yeah.
Cooper mostly there. But
Exactly.
if you guys watch your videos, shout out to her as well. But big shout out here because Benny Johnson knocked it out of the park. This man, super happy with him because this is great. Someone needed to do this a long time ago. He went to Ocasio's hometown, and he kind of just debunked everything she said about being from the Bronx, because you have to understand she has projected this on people like, I'm working class, I grew up, grim gritty American, I know what this is like, I'm gonna be fighting for you because I was on your side. And this lady lived in the Bronx, where this is how she relates to everyone with this. She lived in the Bronx until she was 5 years old. I don't think that she was in a terrible situation at 5 years. Like, I don't think she was out there
She probably doesn't even
scrubbing
remember
toilets
it.
for a living at 5 years old, alright, guys? So, she moved, and obviously her parents, even in the Bronx, must not have been too bad off, because they moved then, at 5 years old, to Yorktown Heights, where
Which-
Cortez spent the rest of her
The
days up
majority
until
of
she
her
went to
life.
college. So, she graduated from there. We have Benny, again, another shout out, because he put Ocasio's senior picture of that was in the yearbook online, showing that she graduated from Yorktown Heights. And let me just tell you, and Jacob can tell you too, this place, now I know we're looking at the best part of it, but this place looks great.
It's
I
not
don't freaking live there. No, nothing. Like,
Dude,
they've
some
got,
of
like,
these
the Starbucks
houses-
is, like, crazy. I know I point out the Starbucks, so it's like kind of unlike me actually. I'm not a huge like Starbucks guy. Jacob's more in that vein. But they have like this like pavilion area overlooking like a pond with
Dude.
weeping willows coming down like covering things.
Some
You got
of
like
these houses
donut
are
shops,
insane, dude.
mansions, parks. Your local market where they sell homemade. Where'd Benny go? That local market, like someone was selling like homemade peach and cherry pie. It seems like a nice community that's
I live
obviously
here?
wealthier.
Can
And
I
it's
live
great.
here?
It seems really nice. And her home is not a mansion where she
But
was, but it's
it's
very
nice.
nice. It's got a nice front yard, a nice backyard, nice neighborhood, nice grass, good trees, obviously very well kept up. Inside, saw a few little pictures. Looks very ornate, well kept up, plenty of rooms. Obviously, if you have that kind of house, you got food on the table. So she did not have to worry about anything. Again, I wouldn't really care if this is just true, right? If she was just like, no, I grew up in this really nice area and I'm still gonna, like, whatever, I don't agree with her socialist communist views. Obviously, I think that's crap. But if she were to be like, look, I grew up here, I don't have this experience, like, educate me. But that's not what she said, right? She said, I'm from the Bronx, fully played into that. When she did not, she spent the first 5 years, like, dude, I can't remember 4, 3, 2, 1, and I have some vague recollections of 5. I would not claim to
Exactly.
be from that country house. The place I usually claim to be is from Minnesota, and that St. Paul house where I spent most of my childhood years growing up, and then we eventually moved West Virginia back, all that stuff. But I'm not letting it be like, oh yeah, this is like where I'm from. I'm a farm boy. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's not who I was. Whether I want to be that way or not, that's not who I am. And
That's
so
funny.
it's just like saying you're from the Bronx before you're even 5. It just seems
Like-
so ridiculous.
Like, I don't remember anything when I was
No.
5, really. I mean, like, I barely remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Uh,
And I guarantee you weren't doing anything. You were probably napping for at
Yeah.
least 90% of the day.
Exactly.
And so, just to try and, like, I don't know, you can maybe say it's a joke, right? I lived in the
Right.
Bronx since I was 5,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna
But you're
lie
running
and
a
be
political campaign
Exactly.
practically on this statement. And so, no, she's not from the Bronx. She's not this grim, gritty American. She grew up in a nice home that her family provided for her. And I would have hoped that she was educated better because of it. But she was not. But she also, I mean, she went to a very prestigious school afterwards. She was obviously not educated in critical thinking, I would say, as far as, and I know, okay, you know what, that sounds wrong. That sounds like I'm not educated in critical thinking that way. I do want to respect what he was taught. I do not agree with the public school system. I do not think she was taught critical thinking well, and I do not think she was taught history well, and that shows in the way that she supports communism, and we've seen what communism does. The
Right.
statistics would say, contrary to what she says, the statistics would indicate that communism is not a good thing to live under, socialism is not a good thing to live under, these things are not a good thing to live under, and so I would believe that in that way the education system failed her. But this is someone I can have a lot more compassion for as someone who just is trying to work their way up, but really just was not taught well.
Right.
And
And I think the way you need to be as a politician is do it right?
Yeah.
I mean,
honesty.
there's no reason to lie because especially with this day and age with the tech and the social media nerds that we have, like you're gonna get found out, right?
Right.
And there's no way to get around it. And so if you're going to try and relate, just be like, yeah, I lived in the Bronx till I was 5.
Yep.
Don't really remember it, but I still live there, guys. Like I would do that, you know, like it would almost be like if I was in the Bronx and like I'm on the edge between her and I don't know the other candidate, but like whoever was the candidate, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of funny. I mean, I almost just want to vote on her just because of that. It's funny, you know what I mean?
Or I might throw something out like, just like be, joking. I'd be like, guys, I know it's like I lived in the Bronx up until I was 5. That is, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like that gets
just
a lot
whatever.
out
You
of
throw
people,
it out
and then
there, but don't run a campaign on it. My gosh.
Exactly.
And so disproven. Shout out to Benny. It's really just nice because we have proof that's where her home is. We have proof that's where she went to high school and spent obviously from up until she was 5 till up until she graduated high school. She was there. When she graduated high school, she went to a nice college. So it's not like she went back to the Bronx, you guys. She went to a very nice college, Boston University, right? I think.
I believe so.
Yep, and so she obviously got a degree there, went on to have this job in politics, working your way up, and we just want to throw it out there. If you're going to be a politician, honesty is the best policy. I think you can be stupid, downright stupid, but if you're honest, I appreciate you. Honestly, I don't care if you don't have 2 brain cells rubbed together. If you're just honest, honesty is honestly also a really great way to start learning stuff. Because if you're honest and humble, you're going to start learning. And I think that it's these people who just jump on, claim stuff, lie, are going to be the ones that are arrogant and aren't going to learn anything from it. And so I just to be honest, guys, I hope she does not get this win in the primaries because it just would not look good for America if she were to be elected.
And she went to Boston University.
Yes, Boston University.
That's what you
That's
said?
what I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Got
So I got that right.
it.
Yay.
Cool. Yeah, I 100% agree. She's going and like again, just vote on honesty. Like,
Yeah.
or, like run off honesty because that's what I want to be as a voter. I want you to be transparent. Again, we went through the government transparency thing, but there's not enough of it. So can help start because that's where we
Yeah.
want to vote, and that's where a lot of the voters are gonna land if you're honest.
Yeah, and I mean, think about Trump. Like the guy or not, he did everything he said he was going to do, other than you could argue the Epstein files, which sucks, and I don't agree with it necessarily, but I don't know the full story, so I'll
Right.
hold my tongue for now. But overall, he provided everything he said he was going to provide, other than that, right? The border's good. Our economy is improving. Obviously, that's a stacked issue where you can't just
And
it doesn't
again,
take a day.
like we said, people are not. I don't even know if we said this on the podcast or not, but it's gonna take time to. People are not gonna see the end result right away, right?
Right.
You might take one step back, but you're gonna take 2 steps forward. And I feel
Right.
like that's what a lot of people are complaining about right now. Is like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going back, but you got to see that we're gonna be taking 2 steps forward
Yep,
in
you
the
have
future.
to be able to see the future. That's what the tariffs are for. That's what all these things are for. I see the game plan. I see the end goal. Yeah, it might suck for a while. I'm not gonna like downplay that, but the
Right.
goal is there, and our eventual achievement of that goal, I do believe, will come to fruition. And so I think to round us off here, I want to talk about alligator Alcatraz. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm gonna have Jacob run it down.
Okay, guys. So it's just. I don't even know if it's not even a big deal, guys, but it's just kind of fun to talk about.
It's awesome.
It's kind of.
I love
Okay, so Alligator Alcatraz is a nickname for a controversial immigration detention facility located in Dade Collar. Is that
it.
correct?
Somewhere in Florida.
Yeah, it's in Florida. It's a training facility and a transition airport in Florida Everglades.
Yes.
So, officially opened on July 1st, 2025, the facility
Yeah.
was rapidly constructed to support Trump's administration of the mass deportation agenda. It is designed to house up to 3,000 illegal, with the potential to expand to 5,000 in temporary structures, like trailers, tents, and other things, etc. Right?
Yep.
So, but the big thing, right,
Yeah.
is all around this facility, there's a moat. And you know what's in the moat, Adrian?
Wait. I thought the point was that it was just swampland outside the Everglades. There's
Or
an
like,
actual
yeah,
moat?
like it was
They're
like,
putting alligators in a moat? I think
or
I
it's like
love
it's
this.
like a swamp. That's what I mean. Like I just saw like
So
a big,
being
it's a
outside
big
the
swamp
Everglades,
around,
guys,
right?
you got well, in Florida being crazy as they are. So you got the Everglades outside of it. Now if you guys don't know, Everglades is a national park that houses alligators and crocodiles in the same land. Now this would be mostly alligators in this case. But so this is an airport that they redesigned to be an immigration detention facility that houses, as Jacob noted, 3,000 illegal immigrants with the potential to hold 5,000. And this is part of Trump's mass deportation plan. So part of this will just be the fact that even if you were to get out, and why it's called Alligator Alcatraz, because Alcatraz was surrounded by water. Obviously, that's in California, I believe,
Right.
and that was a jail. Obviously, very very difficult to get out of because you have to swim once you're out, and just no one's gonna swim that far. So, in this case, it's swampland. So you got water. You got alligators. You got just the kind of environment you don't want to be in. Mosquitoes, alligators, deep water, trenches, pits, whatever. And then you also have, I think is it pythons? Pythons,
some
right? Because
sort of
Florida
snake.
released pythons to like get. I don't know if it was pythons or it might not have been pythons. It might have been I can't
Cobra
think.
or
Not cobras. No, cobras.
not cobras.
Um,
It's something like a sea
Why can't
bat
I
or
think?
something.
I can't think, guys.
Anyway, snakes.
Guys, tell me in the comments. Let me know how stupid I am. Appreciate it.
He is.
I'm so dumb. I'm really dumb. In this case, I cannot think of the name. I'm like supposed to be the animal expert here, and I'm really dumb. Okay. Besides the point, big snakes that will crush you. So those are in there. Those are not native, by the way. Florida released those to get rid of some other animal, and then you know how that always backfires. So they've got like an overpopulation of those now. No natural predators, and it's an issue, and just basically don't encounter one. So they have all these things keeping these immigrants inside, even if they were to get out. And so it's all been remodeled for it to be at a detention facility. Great job on Florida's end, getting that done at a very fast rate. But then he also went there, but was able to ask Trump some questions. Trump obviously really likes this. Going according to plan, got good backing from DeSantis and all those people, making sure that this facility comes into play very quickly. That way we can get immigrants there, out of the country, boom, 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 boom. But in that transition, we got them at this detention facility. So proud of our citizens for putting this together, and I think it's just really cool. Wanted to shout it out because it's been trending recently, and I thought you guys would like to know about it. I don't really have anything else on this, Jacob. You got anything to round us out with?
No, I was just looking at I'm gonna link a Benny Johnson video to where he was talking about alligator Alcatraz. It was really good. It explained a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I have anything else, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up for here. I'm pretty excited because we're gonna be having our not next episode, but the next episode after that, we're gonna be having in person, which is gonna be really cool. We'll probably hopefully shoot a couple of them and just maybe shoot them out every other couple weeks, right?
Yeah, and if you guys want to see the nerd side of ourselves, I think we are going to do a Star Wars Unlimited box opening for fun. So just throw out to the viewers out there who are weird like us. We play occasionally, so it's fun.
Yeah,
so
just
we'll be doing some card
you know?
openings and just some fun stuff, but we'll also
Fun
be
stuff.
integrating the politics in there too. So
Right. We also go check out all of our social medias. I just made a new shorts channel, so if you guys want to see just directly our shorts, go check that channel out down in the description. Hit the like button, subscribe. The bell tells you when we upload a new video. It'd be much appreciated, and we'll see you next video.
peace.
Peace out.